peaches and the pastor. We got a love filled with joy and laughter. We gon' talk about how you and yours can master. Put God first, make the blessing come faster. You rollin' with peaches and the pastor. We got a love filled with joy and laughter. We gon' talk about how you and yours can master. Put God first, make the blessing come faster.
Roses are red, yeah, violets are blue, boy. You know I'm in love with you. We gon' ride this thing till the wheels fall off. We gon' ride this thing just like them cars. You bring the sunshine, you make my light shine. You said you love me and that you're all mine. Who would ever believe that God loved me so to give me a king that makes my life so
You rollin' with peaches and the pastor. We got a love filled with joy and laughter. We gon' talk about how you and yours can master. Put God first, make the blessing come faster. You rollin' with peaches and the pastor. We got a love filled with joy and laughter. We gon' talk about how you and yours can master. Put God first, make the blessing come faster.
Yeah, peaches, come on, let's ride till the wheels fall off. Come on, let's ride. Peaches, let's ride. Peaches and the pastor. Come on, come on. Let's take this ride. Come on, come on.
Greetings, TrinityStrong Kingdom Broadcast, and welcome to another segment of
Peaches
and the Pastor. You like how I say that?
Yep.
All right, it's cool. Hey, you looking fly again, baby.
Thank you.
You know, you matching my uniform today. You know, I'm always in this black.
Yeah, black. Can never go wrong
Howard,
with black.
black,
That's
black.
Right. Can never go wrong.
The black don't crack, right?
Black don't crack.
That's something else, you know. So, what's up?
Well, you know what? Just rolling. We're rolling with Peaches and the Pastor.
Yeah.
You know, talking about the same thing, coming from that last week conversation.
Yeah.
I think we got a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, thank you guys for hitting us up, because you all came back with a lot of comments and emails and all of that. You know, I'm trying to keep everything cool, guys. So, you know, lighten up on a brother, though. But it's all good. It's all good. I thought we had some good content. And I guess we'll stay on that road. We'll stay on that pathway. Okay, so
we were talking about roles, traditional roles, versus today. And the changes, and then all that sprouted from that, which was so much other stuff we can talk about, so many different directions. But going back to that,
so much. So let's look at one of the first things that God told Adam and Eve to in Genesis 1:28, right? To be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth, you know, and gave us dominion over the everything, every living creature in a sense. And so we have a responsibility. That came after he created Adam and Eve, gave Adam and Eve a responsibility what to do. So in that respect, we should always come out the gate in a marriage that we have to do this together as a team. We have a responsibility. Okay?
That's right.
And all the way from that core, that's something that you should never miss. You know, so even if the responsibility of both of them, and they were one flesh, both of them were given a responsibility to do X, Y, Z. And in our marriages, you know, we are given a responsibility to do X, Y, Z. Okay. And so we have to get into making sure that it's not weighted on one side and against the other side, that we have a shared responsibility.
Yeah, and it just all depends on what you agree to will be the X, Y, Z. We were talking about in the last segment when you were saying, you know, you were raised, or some folks were raised
as a boy, you're growing up, so you can take a wife and you can take care of her. And then as a girl child, they're told to, grow up and learn all these domesticated things so that you can take care of your family and your husband. But now, as things are changing, and there's two working parents in the home, and sometimes the chores aren't necessarily just the wives. They're kind of split up on, who can do them, this and that. But, like we were talking about last time, sometimes that creates some problems if it's not spelled out and you're just winging it,
it will. You're right. It will create a problem, and it will become adversarial. Okay, no doubt about it. We have to understand that there is a burden that comes with being married. There is a burden that is fixed there, and you can't deny it. Okay, there are some things that you're going to have to address, and it's called burden. But in the scriptures also, in Galatians 6:2, it tells us that we're designed to bear one another's, to bear with one another. Okay, the issues that we go through and various things that we have to encounter, there is a bearing of those burdens. Now, we don't want to admit that, but there are burdens that are associated in marriage. And so when you get to this point where you've got to handle things and deal with things, guys, you got to work that thing out together. We have to bear with one another's burdens, and whatever it might be. And that helps. It helps when you are clear about the roles, and that you talk about the roles that we're going to enact in our relationship. So the roles are very important. The burdens are real, and we have to bear each other's burdens. We have a shared responsibility to do that. And so making sure that we've communicated, back to your point, that everything sort of spins back around to communications, and you have to communicate this stuff, because stuff will go out of sorts, and then over time you have to go back to it and just keep in touch with what's happening in your relationship, because stuff evolves.
You said something last week, though, that just really rang a bell with me when you said you wind up feeling like your opponents, like in competition, and that's very.
Are you married to your opponent, or you're married to your companion?
That is so real in marriages, because we're like we talked about last week. Subconsciously, you're always prepared to make an exit just in case it doesn't work out. So at some point, you do become competitors, because you're trying to make sure you got your stuff together just in case, and the other person is in the back of their mind got their stuff together just in case. So at that point, you become opponents. So you're not working together as a team. You're actually competing against one another to make sure that each individual is well enough to be an individual again. And so that's very real. And so in marriages, you have to decide whether you're all in, because you can't be half in.
There's
half
a flip
and half.
Right, a half and half. And there's a flip side to that in terms of competition, that I'm going to make sure that I do my part. The role that I talked about, I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure I do my part, and I'm going to do my part 100 every single time. All right. People can actually can find themselves competing with their spouse in executing the roles that they agreed to do. Okay, so in other words, I'm going to feel good because I did everything I said I was going to do, and I'm going to make you feel like you're a failure because you haven't come up to the things that you said you were going to do. Okay, so sometimes even in the roles, people can feel, and that's when it becomes adversarial, because now you're getting on your spouse because your spouse isn't doing his role that he agreed to do. All right, you're doing your role that you said you would do. Now he's going to get defensive, or she's going to get defensive. Say, hey, listen, don't be talking about what I'm not doing, what you're not doing. We in this together. Always gets back to that. We in this together. We supposed to be like this. You know, no, I couldn't do it. You know, so if I couldn't do it, you should have jumped in and did it. Well, how can I jump in and do your thing? I'm trying to do my thing, and back and forth. It just gets crazy. That's what I'm talking. That flip side, you know.
Yeah,
roles can just get out of control. So we got to talk that thing, man. You got to really talk it and be real about it.
You know, in my studies, you know, this if I passed,
you
I
passed,
turned my paper in. If I passed in this doctoral program, the one thing I wrote about was this thing of divorce and why. Divorces are 50% of what's going to happen in a marriage, whether you're a believer or not. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest things was because in this society, we're in this individualistic society, and that you are taught, like you were saying in the last show, to take care of yourself. Independence, and making sure that you're not dependent on anyone. And that is a big issue in marriage, because if you don't go into marriage realizing that it's a sacrifice, and you still going in thinking it's an individualistic position, it's going to be very hard for you to make it. And I just, because one thing you said, and that whole thing is the competition. If you're competing with me and I'm competing with you to stay individuals in case it doesn't work out, and we're not sharing our lives together, it says to become one, and we're not on that. We don't take that under our belt. We're just going to be two people living under the same house. We're not sharing our income. We're not sharing our money. We're not sharing our gifts and talents because you want me to do this when I'm that. You know what I mean? It's a whole bunch.
Right, yeah, and that's working for a lot of people, though.
Yeah,
that's working for a lot of people. Okay, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to contribute this, and my spouse is going to contribute that, and that's working. That's not
working because they communicated that and they agreed to that. They agreed to that and they communicated that, and that is working. But I'm saying when you don't communicate that, and then when you're not communicating that, you didn't set certain things up, what happens then?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I get that. So why don't we chat that up a little bit more after we come from our little break, right?
That's right. Because you're rolling with Peaches and the Pastor. We'll be right back.
And the Pastor. Peaches and the Pastor. All right, we're back at you with
Peaches
and the Pastor. And again, guys, TrinityStrong Kingdom Broadcast. And hit us up on our website, TrinityOutreachCogic.org.
You said it. You did it. In our WOVU family.
All right, it's all good. Yeah, we're kicking it. So listen, let's continue this conversation. And we've been, picking up some momentum. So back to these roles, right? Yeah. One of the things that I'm somewhat targeting, and when we get so caught up in roles that we and we talked about this last week, we're not maximizing all the talent and gifts. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
And
because you want you want to keep the person in a certain role, even if that's not their gift and talent.
Exactly. So how, and this is a really, really tough subject, because even I'm looking at this even from my own, personal self, and men in general, I don't think men in general have an issue with maximizing their gifts and talents in marriages. But I think women from time to time become restricted from doing so because of the demands that has been placed on the wife from the man, from traditional values, or from what he understands to be the way an effective husband should be. So you could clearly be married to a genius, a engineer, a doctor, a successful businesswoman, or something of value that can bring some real good plus, to your relationship. And so I don't know how to really home in on that, and how important it is, guys, to make sure in your discussions talk about gifts and talents. Let's talk about, and when you sit down and have those discussions, what are you good at? What are you gifted at? Okay? Talk about your vocations, but then talk about the things that you like to do, the things that are that you're passionate about. And don't be restrained from saying those kinds of things. And you have to bring those things out so we can find a space for it, because there should be a space for talent, your gifts and talents within your marriage.
For sure. And that's what marriage is about. It's about compromise. And I think the successful marriages they come from having that conversation up front. Traditionally the man is supposed to take care of all the money, but if the woman is better at the money, then or vice versa, or if you're supposed to be the one cooking and cleaning because that's what society has deemed, women are good for, but she's no good at it and the man is better at it and she's better at, maybe she makes more money and he takes the different role. I don't know, but what I'm saying, it works when you sit down and take your individual gifts and talents and maximize them to the fullest, so that you can both be living in your purpose and in your destiny.
Let me take a look at the word you brought out, compromise. Because I would like to use a better word, or another word, not so much a better word, but another word, acceptance. I just think that there are times when we just need to accept who you are, but we need to say it. Say who you are. Say what you are. Say what you can do. Okay, back to those gifts and talents. Say that you're a great, and I'm really talking about things outside. Maybe, let me clarify. Maybe I'm talking about things outside of the roles of cooking and cleaning, and even, well, I'm gonna keep budgeting as a key thing, because you may be good with money. Okay, but things outside of the outside of the home that you can impact, that will impact your home and your professions and your gifts and talents. There's so many people that are stuck at home doing things when they should be outside their home doing some amazing things that God has blessed you with, because they're caught up in a role, or caught up in a tradition that's got them restrained.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm just trying to open up.
And if you really had a pause, that's one thing about our American society. We're on this rat race to keep up with paying bills. Okay, so you need to really get quiet and really write it down, what you want your life and your lives as couples to look like, and really try to take steps, make goals and action plans to get to there, because really you're the happiest when you're doing what God made you to do. You're the happiest when you are living the way God purposed you. And it's not by money. You know, society tells you go get this job because it makes more money, but you're not going to do well in that job because you don't like doing that. So sit down and think about what you want to do. What did God make you to do? And try your best.
That's what I'm saying.
As a couple to get there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and I'm indicating that when you're putting together your life plan for your marriage, both of you need to explain who you are and what you can do. Okay, period. Just talk about it. Maybe you like farming. I don't know. Just whatever it is to bring it out. But when you discuss your plan as a marriage, you're going to contribute. You're going to say, well, I can do this to make this plan work. I can do this to make this plan work. But you have to say it. You have to bring it out and bring it out clearly. Even if you don't have that skill, but you have that desire, then there's also that space where, listen, I'm going to go get an extra job so you can go to school to get that degree or get that thing happening for yourself. I mean, even to that degree, you may not come in again in a marriage with all these degrees and skills, but you want to have those skills. You want to do this. You want to do that. I want the marriages to understand that we are here to benefit the marriage, but at the same time to strengthen the spouses individually. I want them to be strengthened, and because in their individual strengthening, then certainly they can operate with some confidence.
Oh, for sure. If you're the best you that you can be, you're going to definitely be a better husband or a better wife to your spouse when you are the best. Because that's when you're living in your destiny, in your purpose, in your space, how God made you. And when you are unhappy in jobs or in something or a career or job that you don't belong in because that's not your gift or talent, or when you are just operating outside of who God made you, you're not going to be, a good husband or a wife to anyone. So, it's always best, but of course, after you get married, you might be already married, like we're talking about, most of these people that are listed are already married, but it's never too late to sit back down and write the vision and make it plain and start from where you are. Start all over.
Start from where you are, redo some things over again, and back to communications. It's so critical. And be transparent, be open. You're married to your best friend. You're married to your confidant. You're married to the person who's got your back. So you don't have to worry about where you are. Now, there are things, again, when you come into a marriage, you're expecting things to be, super cool, but then here we come with those burdens. Okay, and we're going to probably address one of those burdens in our next segment, talking about finances, money, because that becomes a huge piece. But as we go through this segment of roles and communicating and all that kind of jazz, guys, we have to recognize that there's a reality that things can go haywire when you're not being forthright. Say what you want. I want you to be able to dream, Peaches. I want your dreams to come true within the confines of being married to me. Okay, that everything that you want, I want it to happen for you. And everybody don't have that type of confidence in their relationships. They don't feel that way. In fact, they don't have dreams. They have more nightmares than they have dreams. And so I want to make sure that I'm not disrupting or delaying or doing anything to keep you from your dreams. And so, because you had dreams before you met me, you had dreams before you married me, and those things I want. And then there are dreams that you develop while you have been with me. Okay, but key thing is that I want those things to happen, and that happens within an environment that we create. Through love and depending on one another, you see.
That's right. Yeah, this is there again. There's so much in that that you said, and I'm glad we're going to get to finances, because that is very high on the list of breakups and misunderstandings and divorces and things of that nature. So we do need to really delve into that and how you can kind of combat against some of those things. But in regards to communicating and I just go back to writing that vision down and making it plain. And it's one thing that's very important in marriage is you have to have a goal. There has to be a plan. You know what I mean? That's the one thing you can't. I know for me, I can't just feel like I'm winging it and this is just going to be an endless wing. That's not real. We need to sit down. What do we want to accomplish as a couple? What does that look like? How are we going to get there? What's the goal? What's the plan? Because I want to feel like I'm moving towards something. I'm progressing. We're moving forward. We're taking steps every day when we get up. We're taking steps to get there. It might take years and years, but I'm one step closer today than I was yesterday. And I think once we start to work on that, get a purpose and a goal for your marriage, then you won't feel trapped or stuck or bored. Or you can't be trapped, stuck, or bored. You got a plan. So if you work in the plan and I'm working the plan, it's never going to be in any bored space, because we're on a mission.
Right, and that mission takes effort, and we are already we live lives against our own purpose. Our laziness, our just not responding to certain things, even to yourself. We're not fast. We'll jump on someone else's business before we jump on our own business first. Yeah. And so sometimes we neglect what we've put out there. Anything you put out there should be top priority. When I get up and I say in my mind, I'm going to do my 7, 8, 10 mile, I can't let myself down. Okay. So we have to make sure that when you're saying something that you want in your marriage, it has to be a priority. It's got to be like you breathing air. But that is not an issue. That's an issue for a lot of people. It's easy to say what you want to do and how you want to live and how you want things to go, but guys, it takes effort. It actually takes some sweat and tears. It takes some sacrifice, and this is something that people just don't like to do. But you have to do it, and you have to do it. But keep it, depending on where you want to go in your relationship. There are different levels in marriages that as long as we're staying in the same house, I guess that's cool. Well, as long as every now and then we hook up, that's cool.
You want to live your best life.
So,
the devil is alive. Yeah. You want to live your best life.
And whatever that is. But here again, so people are satisfied with certain things, and that's it.
We want you to go higher on Peaches in the Past. And I'm going to tell you one thing you said that was really good. You need individual goals, yes, because you need to be the best God made you. But as a couple, you need to have a goal. You need to have a plan. And we can talk more about that on the segments to come. This is
cool.
Awesome, babe.
Right.
It's over already.
Oh my goodness. That's where it goes.
It's almost over.
We're having good content.
They've been rolling with Peaches in the Past.
In the pastor.
You ain't gonna do this?
Yeah, it's all good.
All right. Well, this has been another wonderful segment.
Peaches and the Pastor, or Pastor and Peaches.
We gotta go. God bless. See you next week.